navadhetamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the first section is freedom from sadness. When Lord Krishna gives the vision of the nature of the self, that you are free from birth, death, change. You are free from all limitations. If you have that knowledge, well then, there is no question of sadness, then you are free. But it does happen that, in spite of being told, somehow we do not seem to be able to assimilate this knowledge, not able to make it our own. It remains at an intellectual all right, but does not become our own knowledge. We have these two faculties, an intellectual faculty and an emotional faculty. With intellect, we can understand things. However, we feel things with reference to our emotional faculty. And what happens is that we carry out all our interactions with the world with our mind or emotional faculty. Intellect and mind, head and heart, intellectual and emotional faculty. All our transactions take place at the level of this mind or emotions. And therefore, we are as good as our emotions. We have many impulses within ourselves. Bhagavad Gita summarizes all those impulses as raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. What is attachment? When something happens that I like, I feel very happy. Something makes me happy. When it happens, I am happy. When I have it, I am happy. When I experience, I am happy. That relationship is called attachment. And there are just the opposite things also. Something makes me unhappy. When it happens, it is unhappy. When I get it, it's unhappy. When I experience it, it's unhappy. I'm unhappy. So happiness and unhappiness, understand, are caused not because of what is, because of my attachment and aversion. In my mind, I have concluded that this is desirable, this is undesirable. This is my conclusion. This is the source of happiness. This is source of unhappiness. This is source of security and peace and love. This is the source of insecurity, fear, hatred. This is my conclusion about things. Thus, I have opinion about everything. And opinion generally oscillates between attachment and aversion. I'm attached to certain things. When I look upon them as the source of my happiness or security, I have aversion to other things and beings when I look upon them as source of unhappiness, insecurity, fear. This is my personal view. If really a person or a thing is source of happiness, it should cause happiness to everybody. What causes happiness to me may cause unhappiness to somebody else. And what causes happiness to somebody may cause unhappiness to me. So there is no rule. This is all subjective. This is called projection. This is my subjective projection, or this is my subjective view, conclusion. So it is the nature of this mind or emotional faculty to thus project. Therefore, we do not see things as they are, we see them through the glasses of our raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. So I right away brand. Moment somebody comes before me, my mind brands desirable, undesirable, a friend, an enemy, this, whatever. I first tempt them and then I interact with them. So all the interaction and all the vyavahara interaction takes place at the level of mind, at the level of emotions, at the level of these impulses. Therefore, whatever my understanding be, that understanding does not come to help me if when my emotional or impulsive mind is functioning. Meaning that when I get angry, for example, at that time the way I behave is never in keeping with my dignity. I may be a very learned person, a scholar, giving discourses on what is anger. All of this is there, where? In my intellect. But when anger takes hold of me, at that time, all that learning, all that wisdom, all that culture, all that upbringing is as though relegated to background. And I act as a person who is controlled by anger. So call it lust, call it anger, call it greed, call it attachment, call it aversion. Whenever they take hold of my mind, then it is they which govern how I react and not my wisdom. Therefore, for my wisdom to govern me, for me to benefit from my wisdom, it is necessary that this mind also should be in alignment with intellect, meaning that mind should be essentially free from these impulses or this tendency to react. As long as my mind reacts, so long my understanding does not come to heaven. And this is our experience. I have value for non-violence, value for not hurting anybody, and still it happens that when I get angry, I say things which hurt the feelings of other people. Then I regret later on. So very often we regret our own behavior. Hey, I should not have done it. I should not have said it. I should not have thought like that. Thus, it is our experience that we have an emotional or impulsive faculty. And that is what governs our life, unfortunately. We are not what our understanding is. We are what our emotions are. And therefore, these emotions or impulses must be aligned with the understanding. So this teaching is important to Arjuna, that you are limitless. He understands also. I can understand that, yeah, body I am not. The mind I am not. It's my costume. I am different from them. I am possessor of them. So I am not the body having consciousness. I am conscious having body. Becomes very clear to me. And still, when it comes to actually living my life, that knowledge is not really available to me. It is only what my conclusions are in my mind or emotion. That is what governs me. Therefore, Lord Krishna gives a program. Lord Krishna gives us certain attitudes and values which we should adopt in order to progressively become free from these attachments and aversions or these impulses, these reactions. How to make our mind free from reactions? How to make it free from impulses? In Vedanta, sometimes they use the expression antahkana shuddhi, purification of the mind. How to purify our mind? What is impurity? This anger, etc. is impurity. Attachment and aversion are called the impurities of the mind. Because whenever attachment or aversion, when any one of these impulses arises, I get disturbed, I get agitated, I become unhappy. So they are called the impurities of the mind. And they are responsible for making me unhappy. Ignorance is there. But in the day-to-day life, what causes sadness, unhappiness are all these reactions which can be reduced to two: raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. Attachment, I cannot do without something. Aversion, I cannot stand it. That's all. So for me, the world is divided into two. I cannot do without this, things and beings, and I cannot stand these things and beings. And both of these are problems. Attachment causes problem by separation. When I am separated from something to which I am attached, I am unhappy. And aversion causes problem by association. When I am associated to something I have aversion for, again I become unhappy. Therefore, this raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion, both of these are causes for our unhappiness. So first we should deal with them. First means what? Not that Swami, all right, thank you, I will first deal with, I will stop coming to Gita classes. You told me that first raga dvesha I'll work on that. No, don't do that. We should continue to study, listen, understand, get clarity, because that also is very important. And that also helps in purification. At the same time, we should also consciously adopt the right attitudes in our life. We are as good as our attitudes. Yesterday we said we have the free will, freedom to make choices. Very often people tell us, Swamiji, where is freedom? I don't have freedom in my place of work. It's my boss who decides what I have to do. Where do I have freedom? In even home also. I don't decide what is cooked. It's, my spouse decides. I have no freedom. When I go for shopping, he says, this is it, this is the price here, no bargaining. You want to take it or leave it. The other day I was told that your flight is cancelled. What? Yes. Here is a voucher, overnight stay. But the checkout time is tomorrow 12 o'clock. But then your next flight is 8 o'clock tomorrow. This whole day is there tomorrow. No, your flight is only 8 o'clock. Want it or not? I said, so many things are waiting for me. He says, do you want this? What shall I do after 12 o'clock when I check out of the hotel? That fellow says, you can go to airport and there are bars, etc. Take it or leave it. Where is the choice? Thus, in fact, even though they talk about the free will and the freedom of choice, in many cases we find that we have no choice. In India, here in US, children are all raised with choice. Honey, you want tea or coffee? In tea you want milk or half and half or this and that, you want sugar, 1 crystal, 2 crystal, etc. All these choices are given. Honey decides what cereal I will eat. What milk? 2%? 1%? Or is it, what do you call it? Huh? Fat free. Skim milk. All choices. No such thing in India. Our Swami says thali culture. When you go for lunch there, they give a thali means what? It's already cooked, it's already served. You get this rice, this is given to you. Take it or leave it. So from one standpoint, it looks like we have no choice. When you're driving a vehicle in Ahmedabad, where is the choice? People drive as they want, unruly. What is the choice? The only choice you have is to only negotiate your vehicle, that's all, nothing else. In life also, even if you do not have a choice in deciding what we do or even how we do, we have the choice in deciding the attitude with which we do. That's the freedom we have of entertaining the attitude that we want. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita teaches attitude. And that's enough. Just as my little motor car or vehicle with my steering wheel and accelerator and brake pedal is enough. In spite of all the chaos on the road, you cannot imagine what chaos exists in India. People when they return, go back to India, to Ahmedabad, no, I can't drive, no way, and then they scream. Somebody else is driving. And this fellow keeps on screaming, hey, stop it. This is how it is. And still, people manage to reach home safely. That I don't know how it happens. That shows that there is God, He must be there, otherwise these fellows cannot be saved, but they are. If you want to see what is called risk, you have to see them. You are driving, he goes like, he cuts this way, with no concern about his life. He has full trust in you that he will apply brake, that you will take care of him. They have so much trust. What is your freedom? Your freedom is to negotiate your vehicle. In all that stuff, you can still reach your destination. Similarly, the only freedom in life we have is in determining what attitude we will have. So Lord Krishna teaches attitude. So let us see what verse we have selected. It's called attitude with reference to performing action. Because what is our life? Our life is nothing but performing series of actions, is not? From the time we wake up in the morning till the time we go to sleep at night, we are doing one thing or the other, right? Even if I am apparently not doing anything, just lying down like a lazy bum, still mentally I am doing something. So we perform actions at the level of body, action at the level of speech, action at the level of mind. Thus constantly we keep on performing actions. So Lord Krishna teaches the right attitude. The two things are there in our life, action and the result. Effort and outcome, you follow? Action is called karma and the outcome is called karma phala. Phala means result. Action and the result. Karma and karma phala. Effort and outcome. Lord Krishna teaches attitude towards both effort and outcome. That's all our life is. What else is life? Doing something constantly, isn't it so? Whether it is home, at place of work, wherever it is. If you have the right attitude with reference to what we do, and right value with reference to what we do, and right attitude with reference to outcome. Values when we do things, attitude with reference to outcome. These two things Lord Krishna teaches, simple things. It's called, with reference to karma, these values and attitudes are karma yoga. So what is yoga? In karma yoga, yoga is important, not karma. So what's yoga? Yoga is right values and attitudes towards karma. It's called karma yoga. So come to page 9. Come to a very famous verse. Verse 47 on the page 9. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते संगोस्त्वकर्मणि. So what values we should have and what attitude we should have so that we progressively become free from reactions. Usually we do not accept realities. We sometimes resist them, reject them, dismiss them. So what attitude we should have towards realities? And what values we should have while performing action? This verse tells us that. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. See the translation. So the word adhikara is translated as choice. You have choice in action. Karmani eva adhikarahate. Te means to you. Karmani with reference to action. Adhikara, freedom or choice or responsibility. So adhikara can be translated variously. Choice, freedom, responsibility. Meaning that, hey Arjuna, you have the freedom or choice with reference to action. Ma phaleshu kadachana, you have no freedom or choice with reference to karma phala or the outcome. So effort and outcome. Simple statements. You have the freedom with reference to effort. You have no freedom with reference to outcome. Simple. If you remember our last night's discussion, whenever there is freedom, there must be responsibility. So freedom without responsibility becomes license. That becomes abuse of freedom. And when we abuse of freedom, we get abused in turn. We don't know that. But when we abuse freedom, we get abused in turn. For example, I have the freedom to speak right or wrong, truth or untruth. If I speak the truth, I am exercising my freedom correctly. If I speak untruth, I am violating the freedom, or I am violating my choice, freedom. When I violate the freedom, then I get violated also. When I abuse the freedom, I get abused also. So if nothing happens, I tell a lie. What happens to me? Does anything happen when we tell a lie? Does anything happen? Huh? When you tell a lie deliberately to misguide somebody, to keep that person in delusion, to misguide them, to cheat them. When you do that, does anything happen to us? You ask me, Swamiji, what is your age? I say 50 years, suppose, which may not be the right thing. So so that, oh, Swami is a young man, that's good. When I deliberately tell a lie, does anything happen to me? Does anything happen in our mind?
Yeah.
I'm asking them.
Yes.
What happens?
You know you're doing the wrong thing.
You're doing the wrong thing. So then suppose you did it, then what will happen? How will you feel? Feel guilty, isn't it? Is it good to feel guilty? You feel happy when you are guilty? Then how do you feel? Unhappy. So we have to pay the price. I may get away by telling a lie, and I may have some benefit, advantage, because I told a lie. But inside, I have to pay the price in terms of guilt, in terms of conflict, in terms of unhappiness. If I keep on doing this again and again and again, what will happen? The guilt will keep on coming, conflict will keep on coming. How will I be? Always in guilt, always in conflict, always unhappy. Is it not so? Meaning that when we violate the freedom, we also get violated. When we abuse the freedom, we get abused. People don't see this. They only see, I told a lie, I got $50,000. That's all we see. Oh, 50,000 is a large, big amount. Even people tell lies, about $5, $10, $50, $100. Looks like, okay, I got it. So we only see one aspect of it as to what I stand to gain by being dishonest, what I stand to gain by telling a lie, I stand to gain by cheating. So what I stand to gain, that we see. What is that? What do we stand to gain? Some kind of material thing. It may be some money, it may be some favor, it may be some comfort. But people never take into account the loss that is involved. Loss is internal, gain is external, loss is internal, right? Now next question is, why do I tell a lie in the first place? Because it will get me something? Maybe I'll save $500. For $500 I tell a lie. So $500 is a big amount. I'll be happy, is it not so? If I get $500, I'll be happy. Meaning that whenever we violate the values such as honesty or truthfulness and whatever is our intention? Our intention is that by violating that value, we stand to gain something materially, which will bring us, which is valuable to us. Money is valuable to us, power is valuable to us, recognition is valuable to us. People do all kinds, even at, I understand, even at the level of this Nobel Prize, etc. A lot of things happen, a lot of politics is there. And people steal things. So somebody told me, Swamiji, this person got a Nobel Prize. He has stolen what I did in 1973, what that a scientist had done. In some different words it is presented and he got, So all kinds, thus by cheating we get Nobel Prize, that's a big prize, isn't it? Big thing. So what happens? I'm a Nobel laureate and I'm very proud, I'm very happy. So understand that ultimately the purpose of violating any value is we hope to become happy by what we gain by violating the value. We violate the value because we stand to gain something. It may be money, it may be name, may be power, recognition, something. Therefore, we violate the value. So the money will make me happy, name and fame will make me happy, power will make me happy. Thus, values are violated for happiness, correct? But we just now saw, when you violate a value, what happens in our mind? Guilt, conflict, unhappiness. So do we get happiness or unhappiness? People think that they get happiness by violating the values such as honesty, but in reality they wind up being unhappy, is it not so? Therefore, first thing Lord Krishna says, Karmanyevadikaraste, you have the freedom or choice in performing action, meaning that you have the responsibility to perform the right kind of action. So karma is not just action, but karma is action performed in keeping with dharma, in keeping with righteousness. Dharma means righteousness. We don't mean a particular tradition of dharma, such as Hindu dharma, etc., which is dharma, no doubt, but here dharma is in the original, in the fundamental sense of what is righteous, what is in order. So there is a dharma or order in the universe. Never in the nature there is no pretentiousness, no dambha. What is dambha or pretentiousness? Showing different from what you are. It's called pretending to be. So sometimes people are very smart. They can speak 4 sentences in English. I've seen people. So smartly they speak that they create an impression, this fellow is well versed in English. So sometimes people create an appearance of, what's your age? Somebody said 29. He never grows beyond 29. 29. This is a man. Woman doesn't go beyond 21. And man doesn't go beyond 29. So by all kinds, human being very often presents himself or herself as different from what he really is. That's called dambha, called pretentiousness. It's cheating. There is no dambha in nature. A buffalo presents itself as buffalo. If I had skin like buffalo, like what was his name? This Michael Jackson, he got his skin treated, isn't it? That is how so many people get a lot of money. Buffaloes, if they had a complex about that color, then I think they will big business, Buffalo is no problem, therefore it presents itself as it is. A camel is said to be a very ugly animal. We call it ugly. Because it has so many crooked limbs. That is why a camel is treated as an ugly animal. For poets and things like that. But does camel feel that I'm ugly? No. Otherwise it will go to plastic surgeon to shave off his hump and things like that. Doesn't do that because no cheating, no dishonesty, no pretentiousness in nature. Is it not so? So nature teaches us its values. That in nature, not pretending to be different from what it is, not cheating other people, not showing yourself different from what you are. No dishonesty. A dog is dog inside, dog outside. That's all. So dog has a habit of barking at any stranger who comes home. And whoever comes home, stranger he barks. Even a Swami comes, he barks. Doesn't know, stupid dog does not know, this is Swamiji, Guruji. And the master of the house and the lady, they all come with the part and everything and chant mantras. And they receive Swami. This fellow also receives barking, at that time only. Because for this fellow, Swami is stranger. He does what it is programmed to do. Not that he keeps quiet at this time and then he barks. What is inside is what is outside. Honesty. It's called arjavam, straightforwardness. Meaning that all these values we see in nature. Therefore there is harmony in nature. Therefore the universe functions in a harmonious way. How do you say, Swami, there harmony in nature? Why are there earthquakes? Is it harmony? Is earthquake good or bad? Huh? Earthquake good or bad? A volcano, is it good or bad? A hurricane is good or bad? A tornado good or bad? You ask a scientist, what would happen to Earth if there was no earthquake? Ask them. If that pressure created between plates is not released, it will fall up, it will break. All of these are what we call safety measures. When in India we have pressure cooker. Do they use pressure cooker in India, US? Not much. We have pressure cooker. And we have safety valves. So when the steam pressure rises, it comes out. There is a whistle. Then okay, pressure is, So one whistle, two whistles. The ladies have counted that for khichdi 4 whistles, for rice 2 whistles, for this 3 whistles, for that, etc. Similarly, what's a volcano? It's a whistle. Safety valve. All the pressure and steam is built up and it just comes out. If it was not there, earth would split apart, could not survive. Whatever natural phenomena which we call natural calamities, from our standpoint, because we want things our way. I built a house here, so I don't want an earthquake. I do not want a hurricane. Because why do you build a house? People build houses where there is a fault line, and then they say there should be no earthquake. But in nature, whatever happens has a reason. It is always in harmony. That's the point here. I'm not saying that there should be earthquakes or no earthquakes. It's not going to happen if I say, But the thing is, there is no violence in nature. There is no untruthfulness in nature. There is no cheating in nature. There is no pretentiousness in nature. So Lord Krishna says, hey, you are also a part of the creation. Therefore, you should be in harmony with the creation. That's all. So live your life in harmony with the order that exists in creation. That is how we get all these values. The honesty is a value in nature. Therefore, we should be honest. Then what happens, Then we are in harmony. If there is order, outside there is of honesty. If I am honest, I'm in harmony with that order. When there is harmony, there is no conflict, there is happiness. The reason why we have conflict when we are dishonest is because we are violating that harmony. Therefore there is conflict. If we are in harmony, no conflict. There is happiness. So simple rule of becoming happy is what? Remain in harmony. With what? With the universe. How? By following values. What are the values? Honesty, truthfulness, non-violence. That's the value. Justice, fairness. Karmanyavadikaraste, meaning that, hey Arjuna, when you perform an action will perform based on these values. Adhikara, that's your responsibility. See, buffalo need not be told because buffalo is always honest. Therefore, they never violate the order. But we can violate because we have freedom of choice. Therefore, it is possible that we can abuse our freedom and therefore we can violate the order. Therefore, we need to be told. Karmanyavadikaraste, you must perform your actions. Meaning all your behavior, action is what? All interactions should be based on the values of life. Non-violence is a value. Don't hurt anybody. Shy. As Swamiji says, I want to live and live happily. And my neighbor also wants to live and live happily. Therefore, respect others as you respect yourself. Respect their rights. Respect their boundaries. Respect their sentiments. And therefore, whenever you interact with anybody, take into account their sentiments, their boundaries, their rights, their requirements. Then you will not hurt anybody. That is called non-violence. So non-violence is a value. Truthfulness is a value. Honesty is a value. Karmanyavadikaraste, your action should be based on these values. Then your action will be in harmony with the nature. Then you will be in harmony. So you know what will happen? When can we speak truth, This is a very interesting thing. Why do we sometimes tell a lie? Because if I tell one lie, suppose somebody gives me an offer, I have bought a particular article which is nice in $500. My friend comes along, he likes it. He says, this is beautiful, give it to me. I'll give whatever you paid, I'll give you. I tell him, $1,000. He gives me $1,000. He told me, I'll give you whatever price in which you have bought. He leaves it up to me. In what price did you buy? $1,000. He gives me $1,000. So by one little lie, what do I get? $500. So what makes me do that? Why do I tell that lie? Can you tell me? Instead of $500, why do I say $1,000? What makes me do that? What is within me that makes me do that? Greed, right? Temptation, correct? So our greed, our temptations force us to violate the value. For example, I told you last night, no sugar for me, but still when rasgulla comes, I put it in my mouth. What makes me do that? Temptation. Therefore, in order for me to be honest and tell him that I bought this in $500, you know what I need to do? I must control my greed. Then alone I can be honest. Is it not so? When a rasgulla is placed before me, when will I not put it in my mouth? I must control my temptation. Then only I will be able to control it. Meaning that for following these values, we are required to control our impulses. What forces us to violate the values are those impulses. Greed is an impulse which forces me to be dishonest. Anger is an impulse which makes me a cruel person, violent person. Lust is also an impulse which makes me a violent person. So jealousy, lust, greed, temptation, anger, all these fellows are there within me, and they pressurize me to violate the value. Therefore, in order for me to follow the value, I have to keep these impulses under control. Is it not so? So what happens? If I have a vow that no, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be truthful, I will not hurt anybody. If I want to do that, I must keep on controlling my impulses. So when I do that again and again, what happens? Slowly I become a master of those impulses. Is it not so? Impulse arises, I subdue it. Arises, I subdue it. In course of time, this impulse will become subdued and subdued and subdued, and my mind becomes free from those impulses or enemies. I get what we call Antahakana Shuddhi, the purity of mind. So we say what is required is that purification of mind, meaning becoming free from the hold of those impulses. Lord Krishna says that look, your own mind can be your friend or benefactor, your own mind can be your enemy. Which mind is my enemy? The mind that is controlled by these impulses of kama, krodha, lobha, lust, anger, greed, that mind is my enemy. I don't need enemy outside. This fellow itself is my enemy. It damages me constantly. It takes away my peace of mind. It creates all conflicts and unhappiness for me. It isolates me from the world. Nobody wants to deal with an angry person. Nobody respects a greedy person. And thus I lose all my respect, everything, all the damage. They are my enemies. So my own mind becomes enemy. What is this? My own mind can become friend when? When the mind is free from these impulses. Thus our mind starts becoming our friend. Then when I want to do meditation, the mind cooperates with me. Otherwise, I have one agenda and mind has a different agenda. I say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om. I may say that, but mind has its own agenda. Because mind is not my friend. When it becomes friend, it is with me. Then there is a harmony within myself. Karmanyevadikaraste. One simple lesson, that while performing your actions, make sure that your actions are in keeping with dharma or the basic values of life. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Here Arjuna, you do not have freedom or choice with reference to phala or the outcome, meaning that you cannot control the outcome. You control the effort but do not control the outcome. Then who controls the outcome? Suppose I have a bow and arrow and I have a certain target. I shoot my arrow. Up to that is in my control, isn't it? Once the arrow is released from my bow, then who controls it? Who controls it? I don't control it, right? Who controls it? What decides where the arrow will fall? What decides? Forces of nature. Very good. It is forces of nature, laws of nature that decide where the arrow will fall. Is it not so? I can estimate them, guesstimate them, take them to account, I can do all the while releasing the arrow, no doubt. That freedom I have. as to what kind of forces will be there and how they will affect my arrow and how to take them into account. But once it is released, it is the forces of nature that decide. I do not decide. So is there a guarantee that when I release the arrow from the bow, it will necessarily hit the target? Can I control that? Would it be not nice if to control that? Then nobody will lose in Olympics. Everybody will be champion. Is it not so? Because everybody can control the shooting competition. If you control where your bullet will hit, everybody's bullet will hit the target. Is it not so? Does it happen? The best of these shooters also is off the mark, off the mark. Why? Because we do not control the outcome. Isn't it so? There are forces beyond our control that determine what the outcome will be. This is true for everything. You invest money in the stock with the hope that the stock prices will rise. What happened in 2008? Do you know what happened? No. There was what they call meltdown. In when? 2008, September, I think. Meltdown. The stock prices, they all came down. People became paupers overnight. Millionaires became, without house, without anything, overnight. Can you control that? I can't control the stock prices, etc. Meaning that, as far as the outcome is concerned, it is not I who controls, it is the forces of nature, law of karma, or the laws, or Ishvara, let us say, who controls. He has created the laws. So Lord Krishna says, you control the effort, I control the outcome. That's simple. Since you control the effort, do make your effort in a responsible way. Since I control the outcome, then comes the attitude. In case of action, comes the value. In case of outcome, comes the attitude. What is the attitude? So, look at the next line, page number 10. It's already page number 10. Verse 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani. Remain steadfast in yoga, you perform your actions. Meaning, you are steadfast in values, perform the action. We already discussed that. But how about the outcome? The second line says, siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva. Becoming even-minded in siddhi and asiddhi. Siddhi means success, asiddhi means failure. They were remaining the same to success and failure alike. Lord Krishna says, look upon success and failure as alike. Is it possible? Success is success and failure is failure. How can they be alike? So Lord Krishna says, while you respond to the outcome, your attitude is, if it is success, thank you God. Failure, thank you God. That's God alike. Success is not equal to failure, but the response is the same. Success, thank you God. Failure, can you say that? Can we thank God for failure? It is said that in Greece, there was one old man, he had a young son. Once this young man, his son, went to a forest with other friends and they caught hold of a horse from the forest and brought home. So this old man's friends came, neighbors came and congratulated him. Hey, you are very lucky. You got a horse free. He says, whatever God does, thank you. What happened after some time, this young man was riding that same horse, went to the forest, but it was not a trained horse, it was a wild horse. This horse threw him off and ran away. This fellow broke all his limbs, He had to be carried in a stretcher and was bedridden for 6 months. Same people came and now consoled this man. Says, we are sorry to hear that this is what has happened. Says, whatever God does is great. You're surprised. In about 1 month, this country declared a war with a neighboring country, and then they said that all the young people, able-bodied, must be drafted in the army. This fellow is saved. He's young all right, but not able-bodied. The same people came and congratulated, hey, you are lucky. God is great. Meaning that we do not know. When something unpleasant happens, we always react to it and declare it as undesirable. But we do not know what effect it will have in future. Do we know that? No. Therefore, what is our attitude? Our attitude is, whatever happens is decided by Ishvara. Whatever I do is decided by me. Therefore, my responsibility of doing it properly. Whatever the outcome is decided by laws of nature, forces of nature, laws of karma, laws of Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara decides that. And therefore, he always, Ishvara's grace, thank you God. Success, thank you. Failure, thank you. It may not be as good as that, but still, accept it. This is called graceful acceptance. Attitude of graceful acceptance of what I cannot change. God, give me the maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. Give me the courage to change what I can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. This statement says, Ma phaleshu kadachana. Here, Arjuna, you cannot change or control the outcome. Therefore, give me the maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. Meaning, give me the maturity to accept gracefully the outcome. What is graceful acceptance? Welcome it. Maintain. Do not react to it. Don't reject it. Don't react to it. And try to be as graceful as possible in accepting even something that is unfavorable, knowing that there is also a reality of life. Our Swami says, we should tell our children, unpleasantness also is a reality of life. Failure also is a reality of life. And never accept those realities gracefully. One more important thing. Understand that failure is not our problem. Failure is not our problem. They say, I am the problem and I am the solution. Failure is not the problem. What's the problem? When the failure happens, I take one more step. I am the failure. See, action is performed, the outcome comes. I brand the outcome as success or failure. I do it actually. And then I brand further myself. I am successful, I am failure. I am successful, I am proud of myself. I congratulate myself, I am happy. When the failure happens, I brand myself, I am a failure. And that is why I am miserable. Failure does not make me miserable. But this branding, I am the failure makes me miserable. Understand this very clearly. So all we need to do is to create a distance with what? Outcome and myself. Because I will not control the outcome. Outcome is controlled by Ishvara. Therefore, you give credit or otherwise of outcome to Ishvara. And thus, if I don't brand myself as failure, I can maintain a balance of mind. And then I will know what to learn from this situation and what to do the next time. And thus I can proceed with my life. When I brand myself a failure, happens 2 or 3 times, then I have a tremendously inferiority complex, low self-esteem, I lose all self-confidence, and this, it is not failure, branding myself a failure. Lord Krishna, don't do that. Siddha Siddhyo Samo Bhutva, maintain an even-mindedness in success and failure. Meaning that, don't brand yourself successful. If you brand yourself successful, then you will brand yourself a failure also. Success also is not yours, failure also is not yours. It is given to you. Who has given to you? Ishvara has given to you. And therefore, accept it gracefully, without reacting with raga or dvesha. What makes us react is raga or dvesha, attachment for success and aversion for failure. Lord Krishna says, give up that attachment and aversion. Whatever happens is in order. Whatever happens has a reason. Whatever happens is right. Whatever happens is in order. Thus, that's the attitude Lord Krishna teaches us with reference to the outcome. So, values with reference to the action. Karmanyavadi karaste. Attitude of graceful acceptance with reference to outcome, because I cannot change it. So give me the maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. That is outcome. Give me the courage to change what I can. That's the action, because courage is required to control my impulses. There is in me an impulse to tell a lie. I require courage to control it and tell the truth. There is an impulse in me to violate. I require courage to control. Therefore, doing right requires courage. Accept an outcome requires graceful acceptance. So they must have made this prayer from this verse. The serenity prayer. God gave me serenity, or we say maturity. To accept gracefully what I cannot change. That is outcome. Give me courage of conviction and self-control to change what I can. That's my karma. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. This verse provides the wisdom. Difference between what you can control, what you cannot control. Effort you can control. Outcome you cannot control. So what's my attitude towards both is also taught by this verse. That's called Karma Yoga. The yoga, the attitude and values with reference to karma is called Karma Yoga. On the break. Okay?
Actually, there is no break. We have some time for a few announcements.